If time could be reversed, do you believe you would survive? In Edinburgh in the year 1700, the city grimly nicknamed Auld Reekie.
Viewed through the lens of modern Reconstruction technology, I came to realize this was not merely an ancient city. It was a colossal biological trap, a mad concentration of humanity compressed into 14-story stone towers. The luxury of the aristocracy and the rot of the destitute were separated by nothing more than a thin wall. A haunting question emerges: how could human beings breathe air thick with the stench of death, drink water from pools filled with corpses, and not lose their minds? Or perhaps the truth is simpler. Perhaps they had no choice left at all.
Guided by Reconstruction algorithms, I will take you through the fog of Auld Reekie to reveal what the naked eye could never reach.
Hold your breath and stay close. In Edinburgh 1700, death waits for no mistake. It is woven into every breath. The Royal Mile morning 1700. Everything begins here on the Royal Mile. Do not mistake this for a forgotten slum. This is the face of the kingdom itself, where the finest scholars and the highest elite of Scotland display their presence. Look down beneath your feet. The street is not paved with clean, even stone. It is a churned, uneven, slurry, mud animal waste and household refuse layered over decades. The only drainage system consists of two open gutters running along the road's edges, where thick liquids creep sluggishly downhill. Water pools where the ground should be dry. Your shoes quickly soak through. Your skin remains damp in the cold fog, steeped in the stench of decay for hours on end. I wonder, would your polished leather shoes last even 10 minutes on this ground before nausea sets in? And yet within that crowd, no one seems to care. Decay has become part of the air itself. If you look upward, you'll see that Edinburgh is slowly strangling itself. Hemmed in by defensive walls that prevent expansion, the city has only one direction left: upward. Stone tenements rise 10 to 14 stories high, looming like massive structures that block out the sun entirely. Our AI simulations reveal what the eye cannot see: smoke from coal fires and kitchen stoves trapped between narrow corridors of stone, unable to escape. The result is a yellowish stagnant fog the locals call Auld Reekie. It does not merely surround you, it invades your lungs, clings to your flesh, and numbs the sense of smell of anyone who has just arrived. Do you realize the danger hidden behind a single sneeze, or even a minor scratch in a place like this?
In the year 1700, medical knowledge still lay in darkness. Germ theory did not exist, and antibiotics belonged to a distant future.
Our simulation systems show that even a minor wound on the street would never heal cleanly in an environment saturated with waste like this. It would swell, fester, turn septic, and blood infection became the familiar ending. Death usually followed a few days later, quietly and completely detached from the place where the original injury occurred. Look at the people passing by you on the street. Do you see the exhaustion in their eyes? The statistics preserved in archival records are horrifying. Average life expectancy in these overcrowded districts barely reached 30. The deaths of children and the prevalence of chronic respiratory diseases were accepted as an inevitable part of life, as routine and unquestioned as the sun rising each morning. The Royal Mile did not see itself as dangerous. It remained imposing. Scholars still debated philosophy in the taverns lining the street. The city continued to move, but the conditions here were quietly eroding the human body, step by step, without violence, and without the need for any great catastrophe. Nor Loch midday 1700. Leaving the hurried crowds of the main street behind it takes only a few minutes to walk north of the city. At the foot of the imposing Edinburgh Castle lies Nor Loch. But do not let the word loch deceive you. This was not a scenic body of water, but a massive reservoir of waste, a true urban dead zone. All the filth from the 14-story buildings above flowed here, pulled by gravity. The water was no longer blue, but pitch black, motionless, breaking only with bubbles of decay. The stench was so overpowering it could be smelled miles away, long before the surface of the water came into view. But I want you to look closer at what is happening right along the water's edge. The most frightening thing was not the smell, but the way people tried to survive alongside it. The poorest residents of the city bent over the shore to wash their clothes and sometimes plunged their hands into the water to collect it for daily use. Within that thick black flow lay animal carcasses, hospital refuse, and the seeds of history's most devastating epidemics, such as typhoid and cholera. Can you imagine it? The very water we would not even allow to touch our skin was the only hope of relief for thousands of people standing here. Nor Loch also bore witness to a brutal form of justice, the witch trials. Women accused of witchcraft were thrown into these polluted waters. A cruel paradox governed their fate. If they sank, they were innocent. If they floated, they were witches. But the truth was far darker. With the extreme concentration of toxins in the loch, most victims died of blood infection long before any final verdict could be delivered. Edinburgh in 1700 did not dispose of its waste. It chose to live alongside it, to breathe it in, and even to consume it. Nor Loch stood as the clearest testament to the almost mad resilience of people at the time, or perhaps to the desperation of those who had no other choice. Feeling nauseous yet? Stay close, because when the sun goes down, this city has an even more horrifying ritual of waste awaiting us. The closes. Late afternoon, 1700. Come with me into one of the closes. These are narrow plunging alleys that cut sideways off the Royal Mile. The pressure of the towering stone walls closes in from all sides, turning every step into a passage through the body of something vast and dark. Here, the very idea of privacy disappeared. Population density was compressed to a near maddening degree. Within a single tower, a brutal social hierarchy unfolded. The nobility occupied the middle floors to escape the stench rising from the streets. Craftsmen lived below, and the destitute were pushed either into leaking attic rooms or buried in damp, airless cellars. In this sealed space, air became a shared substance. Every breath reeked of cheap alcohol, every lingering cough, every dormant pathogen was forcibly passed from one body to another. Here, life and death were intertwined so tightly, they became almost impossible to separate. Do you feel your chest tighten when you realize a stranger's breath is exhaled right against the wall beside you? In these alleys, washing was a luxury so absurd, it bordered on mockery. Clean water had to be carried by hand from public wells that were frequently contaminated by waste. Because water was so precious, clothes were rarely washed. Human bodies were treated the same way. Thick layers of woolen fabric soaked with sweat and grime over months became a paradise for lice and fleas. They were more than a source of itching, they were messengers carrying death across the city. Move carefully, because here is a harsher truth. A small scratch from a rusty nail or a splinter of rotten wood in these alleys is not a simple accident. In this bacteria-ridden environment, it marks the beginning of a death sentence. Blood poisoning can destroy the body in just a few short days, unfolding amid the indifference of the surrounding crowd, people already too exhausted to care about another person's pain. If you were to stumble here by chance, would you force yourself to stand and keep walking? Or would you give in, realizing that there is not a single hand around you willing to help? This city does not merely confine you within stone walls, it quietly strips away your right to cleanliness and safety. And when the late afternoon light finally fades, the darkness in these alleys begins to conceal secrets far more horrifying than you can imagine. 10 o'clock at night, Gardyloo. Stop here right in the heart of this dark, narrow close. It is nearly 10 o'clock at night, nightfall, in Edinburgh. 1700 was anything but romantic. In the thick darkness, lit only by a few flickering oil lamps, the hollow bells of St. Giles' Church begin to toll, marking the end of a long, exhausting day. And then a sound tears through the silence. Gardyloo, in a city crushed in on itself, where toilets and sewers are still luxuries of a distant future. This is the only moment of release each day. Imagine it, thousands of buckets, each holding 24 hours of human waste, from families stacked inside 14-story towers, are hurled straight down onto the street below. Black, heavy waterfalls plunge from the darkness, turning the narrow alley into a funnel that collects the full filth of an entire building. If you fail to react in time, if you don't shout back, "Hold your hand," then the harshest reality will pour straight down onto your head before you even understand what's happening. In an instant, the entire Royal Mile and its surrounding closes turn into a vast, open-air dump. The stench reaches an absolute peak, a suffocating blend of decay so overpowering it would instantly numb any modern sense of smell. By morning, the street sweepers will arrive to clear away what remains on the surface. But the brutal truth is that most of the waste has already seeped deep into the sodden mud below, lying in wait for the next rainfall to revive an endless cycle of contamination. Our passage through Old Yon ends here. Yet what you've encountered is more than filth. It is proof of a brutal chapter in history, a world untouched by the light of modern civilization. The prison and the poorhouse, midnight 1700. As the last streams of filth from the Gardyloo rain slowly dried on the streets, the city began to sift through those no longer strong enough to withstand its harshness. This stop was not a hospital, but a poorhouse or the Tolbooth prison. In the impenetrable darkness of the Scottish night, it loomed like a towering stone tomb holding captive the remnants of a laborer's life. I have tried to reconstruct the atmosphere within these stone walls. Through ancient records, it was not only cold, but also thick with the musty dampness of despair. In the year 1700, poverty was regarded as a crime against the social order. Here, your life was measured in bowls of thin gruel made from moldy grains and on rotting wooden planks, where you had to lie shoulder to shoulder, sharing warmth with dozens of other sick souls in a collective humiliation.
Is there a cruelty greater than being denied the right to suffer in private, when even your final breath must mingle with the stench of a wretched crowd?
Here, death had no name, nor did it require statistics. Through reconstructed documents of the old urban procedures, a cold reality emerges each morning. While the mist still lingers, the garbage carts would clatter by. They did not come bearing hope, but to collect the bodies grown cold stacked mindlessly, like discarded refuse bereft of any remaining value. The city had drained the life from a human existence, and when the lemon was squeezed dry, it discarded its victims in the same manner it had dumped a bucket of filth into the street at 10 o'clock at night. A cold, decisive, and utterly silent disposal. Gazing into the narrow iron-barred windows of the Tolbooth, could it be that the pride of a splendid city is sometimes built upon the very sediment of the lives it has cast aside? Can you feel the chill seeping into your bones when you realize that in this Edinburgh, you are only worth something as long as you can produce wealth, and if not, you are merely part of the city's refuse? It was a journey into the heart of Old Yon in 1700. Through reconstructed images, we have seen an Edinburgh stripped of its glory, revealing only the stifling air and the relentless struggle for survival of its people. The people of that era did not merely live amid filth. They also nurtured minds that would ignite a brilliant age of enlightenment from these very dark, narrow alleys.
The past does not vanish. It lingers beneath layers of grey stone, reminding us of the value of what we take for granted.
A breath of clean air or a sip of pure water. Standing before the splendor of present-day Edinburgh, do you see an ancient capital, or do you glimpse the shadows of those who rose from the black mud of 1700? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to join us in uncovering untold pages of history through the lens of AI.